What's up, 12s? Have you ever stopped to think that the Seahawks might be winning on the field while a decision off it threatens to change everything? Because that's exactly what's happening in Seattle right now. In the middle of a historic stretch, with explosive performances, league-wide recognition, and a comeback that flipped NFL logic on its head, there's a quiet piece almost nobody is connecting. And it involves money, the future, and choices you can't take back. Today I'm going to show you how all of this fits together and why it says far more about where this team is headed than any recent scoreboard. Before we dive in, I need your help. Subscribe to the channel, hit like, and turn on notifications so we can get to 2,000 subscribers together. This project is built by fans, for fans, and it only grows with the strength of the 12s. Stick with me until the end, because this story goes way beyond the game. When you start looking at where the Seahawks are right now, it's impossible not to feel that something's different in the air. It's not just wins. It's not just performance. It's not just confidence. This is a team that's earning respect again, making opponents uncomfortable again, and slowly being seen as a real threat in the conference. But behind that rise, there's a decision coming that's bound to split opinions and could shape the offensive direction of the franchise for years. Kenneth Walker is heading into the final year of his rookie deal, and in 2026, if nothing changes, he becomes an unrestricted free agent. Since the moment he entered the league, Walker has shown explosion, vision, and the ability to flip a game with a single touch. He's the kind of player who gets the crowd on its feet the instant the ball is in his hands, because anything can happen. And yet, in Seattle, he's never truly been treated as a full-usage running back. He's never been the unquestioned centerpiece the offense revolves around. Under Mike Macdonald, the public message has been consistent. The team likes Kenneth Walker, believes in his talent, and would like his future to be in Seattle. Macdonald himself recently said he hopes Walker's future is here, pointing to his impact and his approach as a Seahawk. But the real NFL is about much more than nice words at the podium. The heart of this situation is context. Walker splits carries almost evenly with Zach Charbonnet, no matter how the game script unfolds. Even when Walker clearly looks like the more explosive back, the offense stays committed to a shared backfield. Against the Los Angeles Rams, in one of the most thrilling games of the season, Walker totaled 164 yards and ripped off a ridiculous 55-yard run that completely changed the momentum. Still, he finished with just 11 carries and watched Charbonnet log more snaps for the second straight game. That leads to an unavoidable question. Is John Schneider really going to invest close to $9 million per year in a running back who spends half the game on the sideline? According to SpotTrack market projections, Walker could be looking for something in the range of 4 years, $36 million. That would put him in the same financial tier as players like James Conner, James Cook, Chuba Hubbard, and DeAndre Swift. In pure talent, Walker doesn't trail any of them. In some ways, he's better. But the league-wide trend is obvious. More and more teams are choosing to replace running backs through the draft, especially when they can get solid production from mid-round picks. Just look at the immediate impact some rookies are making this season. Cheap production, team control, and lower risk. Historically, Seattle has had a good eye for running backs in the draft. Going that route again would free up Walker's money to address other, more pressing needs on the roster. There's also a third path that can't be ignored. Looking for an upgrade on the market. Several notable backs will have expiring contracts, and some of them may fit the current offensive philosophy better. And there's another key factor in this equation. Kenneth Walker himself might not want to stay in Seattle if his role continues to be limited. In other markets, he could be a clear-cut starter, a true three-down back, something he's never really been here. When asked about his contract, Walker kept things professional. He said he prefers to focus on football, help the team, and play at the highest level possible, just like he's done since his rookie year. That's the expected answer. but it doesn't erase the feeling that we might be watching the final games of Kenneth Walker as a Seahawk. If that's the case, every fan hopes this chapter ends the best way possible, with a Lombardi Trophy raised in February. And when the conversation turns to recognition, the tone shifts. Because there are signs all over the league that this roster is being valued. After the electric Week 16 win over the Rams, 6 Seahawks were selected to the Pro Bowl games: Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, Devin Witherspoon, and Rashid Shaheed. Sure, the Pro Bowl has its popularity contest side. But for players, it means much more than prestige. There's real financial impact tied to those selections. Under the NFL Collective Bargaining Agreement, players drafted in rounds 3 through 7 who make the Pro Bowl automatically trigger the proven performance escalator, leading to a significant raise in the final year of their rookie deal. For first-round picks, the impact is even bigger, especially when it comes to the fifth-year option. For Jackson Smith-Njigba, earning a Pro Bowl selection by initial vote pushes the value of his 2027 fifth-year option to around $24 million fully guaranteed, depending on where the salary cap lands. That might sound like a lot, but in today's wide receiver market, and considering JSN's production, it's a bargain. He's already proven he's a central piece of the offense and a player clearly on the rise. Some fans wondered why that number doesn't reach franchise tag territory. The answer is simple. Only initial vote selections count toward the calculation, and in 2024, JSN made the Pro Bowl as an alternate. In Devin Witherspoon's case, many were confused as to why his new selection didn't lead to any increase at all. The reason is that his salary is already at the maximum allowed, since he earned Pro Bowl initial vote selections in each of his first 3 seasons, something that almost never happens. Nick Korte of Over the Cap pointed out that Witherspoon was the only first-round pick from the 2023 class to accomplish that. And there's an extra layer of satisfaction here. Witherspoon was selected with one of the picks Seattle received in the historic trade with the Denver Broncos for Russell Wilson. A trade that, honestly, keeps paying off in ways that still feel unreal. You can't close this out without revisiting one of the most improbable wins in recent Seahawks history. The comeback against the Los Angeles Rams wasn't just about offense or defense. It was a full lesson in mindset, coaching, and special teams. According to the projections shown during Thursday Night Football, Seattle had just a 3% chance to win when they were trailing in the fourth quarter. Historically, the team was 0-172 when down by 15 or more points at that stage of a game. But football isn't played on spreadsheets. Mike McDonald and Clint Kubiak stayed aggressive, went for 3 two-point conversions, and nailed all of them. Jason Myers helped with precise kickoffs that pinned the Rams deep, while the opposing kicker gave Seattle much better field position. It sounds small, but in games like that, it changes everything. Michael Dixon was outstanding as well. 3 of his 5 punts were downed inside the Rams' 20-yard line, completely neutralizing the return game. And nobody will forget Rashid Shaheed's electric 58-yard return that reignited hope when the game felt out of reach. It was another reminder that the investment in him was worth every penny and that Seattle will soon need to open the checkbook to keep him around. All of this helps explain how a seat that felt hot for Jay Harbaugh last season now looks as comfortable as any in the league. The real challenge may not be keeping him motivated, but making sure he stays in Seattle as interest from other teams continues to grow. When you look at the full picture, it's clear none of this is random. Delicate contract decisions, young stars gaining value, a team that refuses to accept historical limits, and an identity being built game by game. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe the path the front office has chosen is the right one to sustain this moment and turn this team into a real Super Bowl contender? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the voice of the fan base matters, and I want to know what you think. And of course, if you don't want to miss anything happening with the Seahawks, hit like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay with us on this journey. This is 12s talking to 12s, day after day, game after game. Let's show the league how strong this fan base really is. Go Hawks!